This is a post podcast intro. We've already recorded the whole podcast, but there was a slight technical difficulty, so you may hear a slight bit of scratchiness at the beginning, which will be starting with my big belligerent brain buster. Julius, could you apologize for your faulty computer for a moment?
I'm sorry.
Can you apologize louder?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. So we're just going to speed right into it. Please enjoy the podcast, and there will hopefully be no further difficulties in podcasts to come. Got a few new questions for you guys today. I hope you answer. Please, just take it in and think about it for once, and we can have something slightly maybe intellectual or thought-provoking.
Let's get one of these questions going for longer than 30 seconds.
That's the goal. That's the great. I suppose the peak that we could have is one question is interesting enough to, or you guys are interested enough to make it last the whole segment.
That's how this originally started. And then we moved to this rapid fire system.
Yeah, because there are no more thought experiments
Ever.
in the world.
I like to pretend it's like a hot round, where you
You've done all
get as many going as you can.
Yeah, we've done all 4 thought experiments. No. Okay. First question. I think this one's a pretty good one. Does hardship make a person stronger? Let's start with
Yes.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Thank you, Jules. I think it depends on the person, You can learn from stuff, but you could also just give up and be like, oh, this
So
sucks.
in general, Scott, give me a yes or no answer, because there's a follow-up.
I said yes.
I'm going to go with the yes.
Yes.
Okay, so under what conditions and at what point is it too much hardship?
When they kill themselves.
Okay.
I suppose that's one definition.
To keep this positive, kids, when they go to sleep.
Yeah, I'd say when somebody just gives up.
When you go away to the farm.
When they go away to the farm, yes, for a very long time.
The gulag.
And
All right. Okay, so
Was
Scott,
that 30 seconds?
for the if you were to say certain people don't hardship doesn't make them stronger, then what does for those specific people?
probably nothing. They're just mentally weak.
The gym.
Yeah, going to the gym.
Okay, let's move on to another question. Okay, do you guys think it's better to have a broad knowledge base or a deep knowledge base? So know a lot about a few things or a little bit about a lot of
Well,
things?
I happen to know a lot about a lot of things, so, Okay, whichever one pays the bills. That's what I'm going to go with.
Depend. If you have a profession, you need a deep knowledge base to know what you're doing. But if you just want to impress people, then a broad, because then you never talk to them long enough for them to find out.
Although I'd say that a broad knowledge base makes you more apparently cool.
Well,
If you get the chance to flex your deep knowledge base.
how shallow is a broad knowledge base? Do you literally just know one thing about it? Yeah. Or do you have a decent amount of knowledge about it, but you can't go into extreme depth?
Quantum mechanics.
I suppose enough that you could know enough that you could talk about it, but not know
Then
enough
broad.
that you could do anything with it or speak to someone who is a professional on the subject. You could just talk about it as a conversation with someone else who doesn't know
Then
about
broad.
I'll take a thin one, but very shallow as well, because that's
Yeah, neither.
neither. I'll take the opposite of what Scott's having.
Know very little about very little. Okay, another question. Why are people in general so confident about beliefs that can't be proven?
Thomas Wilkie.
Because you can't. If they can't be proven, then they can't be proven wrong. Prove me wrong.
This would be a good time to.
How are you so
to give
confident?
This is a good time to shout out our pal Kyle Murdy, who's got his own podcast, which is inferior to ours.
Kyle Murdy is also very religious. I would find this topic. He's a devoted Christian.
Okay. You guys, speaking of Kyle Murdy's podcast, let's have a little question that ties in with his debate a little bit about creationism versus
We
evolution.
can't let our viewers know there's anything else to listen to. Can we please stop shouting people out?
What
Okay.
viewers?
We only listen when we have zero.
So you guys will just kill Kyle, and then there'll be no more of his podcast.
go to heaven.
Okay, with no laws or rules to influence your behavior, how do you think you would behave?
Very badly.
Oh my Jesus.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Probably similar to that of Osama bin Laden.
I probably wouldn't tuck in my polo shirt anymore when I walk around campus. Just saying. Or maybe throwing like a pair of black socks, my Birkenstocks. Feeling really excited.
Pick up a couple Arizona iced teas for free.
Dude, I would literally steal an airhead from the Ritz.
I'd go further than that. I'd take 3 cookies from the cookie bin in the Ritz.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you're like every grade 10 in Renfrew.
What?
They literally have bowls of cookies every break.
Okay, they had bad cookies for a whole week, and then one day they had 1 bin of chocolate chip
All
cookies.
grade 10 girls took them.
I saw 15 kids in a row, each carrying 8 to 10 of them in their hands. It was disgusting. But I think that's all the time we have for this segment. Are you guys satisfied with?
I'm so
what we've-
satisfied. It's unbelievable. I've never been this satisfied in my life.
All right. Well, Julius, we're going to be moving on to my new favorite segment, Noise Zoig. Not new, but my new favorite. New to me being favorite, playing favoritism for it.
All right, guys. So I thought, you know what, to do you guys a favor, keep this nice and short, just so that you guys don't fall asleep or get bored, or I think everyone's gonna get bored already. But I'm talking about GIFs on your phone that you can send to group chats. Now that's a trend that I could support. How do you guys feel about
It's
it?
actually the worst thing to ever happen to social media.
Wait, that's a trend?
It's a trend. Have you not seen that?
Yeah,
It is
I-
pretty
When you
bad.
like pour out, when you like actually talk about something and they just send a GIF like, like yes, and then like when they
Hashtag
could just
relatable.
use a sentence.
Well, Julius, I usually don't get invited to stuff like group chats, so I don't really know. Like,
You're in our group chat.
but yeah, but that's like
He's talking about cool people group chats.
like you 3 people are like probably the only 3 people I ever talk to.
And Kyle Murdy. He's got his own podcast, by the way.
On the same channel as us.
And second noise stoic, I gotta add this. Kyle Murdy's podcast. What do you think?
I think it's just so fantastic
I
that
haven't listened to it.
Sean
But I
again
know
think
it's good.
has a science podcast because it just covers so many things that I never knew about, but now I know.
Like biology, chemistry.
Like geology sometimes. Like
I think it needs at least 1 listener before we can put it as a new trendy thing.
I am
on
going to
Noise
listen
Zoig.
to it right now. On silent because we're podcasting right now.
Okay, GIFs, I think, honestly, are a really good sign that whoever you're talking to isn't a human. It's like Mark Zuckerberg or something.
Or is just like extremely basic.
Ooh, that's.
Ooh.
Ouch! I'm basic.
Well,
Julius just sends GIFs to me
There you go.
all day.
I got added to a group chat, and all I did for the first 2 days was just answering gifts, and they kicked me out. But it took them 2 days to kick me out. So I mean, jokes on them.
I hate it when the GIF it's not even sort of trying to be good. It's just someone giving a look, like for a few seconds from some TV show or something.
They're terrible.
I find them
can't-
funny.
They suck.
It's like take emojis down a few notches and there you have it.
They're just not quite as good as Kyle's podcast.
Which, by the way,
is
is
on
a Sean podcast.
Julius, why did you
Julius?
just send a gift to
Yeah,
our group
if you
chat?
send another GIF to the podcast, you will be removed from the group.
I don't think I want to risk that. Okay.
Yeah, see, this is what we're talking about. This GIF is so bad. It's just this clip from SNL that adds no value to the group chat whatsoever.
It says, "Give me 5," and it shows them doing a high five.
So you're saying it's good?
No.
No?
I don't think it's a trend that I want to keep going.
Okay, well, before I get kicked out of the group chat, I just want to send it over to Brandon for his tip-top top 10 because I kind of enjoy being part of a group.
Final.
Top 10 names. We're going to be talking about 10 names that are above average, I suppose. Once you hear the list, you'll realize that they're not that above average. They are below average, a lot of them actually. Give you guys a little bit of an idea of what kind of names we're looking at. The list goes back. There's like 400 names total.
Is there even that many names in the world?
Like
Top
there's
400.
Zek. There's Testify. Pikachu.
Oh, there's my name, Carl.
Traxxas, Star, Kesha. It's not great.
Is it spelled with a dollar sign?
It's actually Keisha.
No, it's not spelled with a dollar sign, so it's a new original name.
That's the first time I've hit it.
All right. Number 10 is Jaina.
It's an elite name.
How do you spell that?
Backwards.
Jaina.
Backwards, it's Aniadge.
Okay. Number 9, Jason with a C, so Jacen.
Okay, I'm personally very against Jason with a C. I think S is the only possibility there. Because it's not Jackin.
Yeah, it would be Jackin.
Jakin.
Jaken.
Like that's.
I could agree
that's
with
just
that.
unbelievable. Like why? Just make it an S. Make it clear. You know.
What if it was Jaycen?
Still be stupid.
That's still Jake. That's still Jakin.
Still got a C in it.
All right, I'm just throwing out the possibilities. Number 8 is Trinity, like the Holy Trinity or something.
Donnie, don't say anything bad.
So that's a name for 3 people. Because it's 3.
Oh, if you have triplets, they are just Trinity as a whole.
Yeah, one is Tri, one
You're
is
like in a
Nit.
park, you're like, instead of calling out your kids' individual names, you're like, Trinity! And then they all like, form up on
Yeah,
you.
and they like assemble.
You got Tri, you got Nit, and you got T. 3 separate kids.
Number 7 is Lady. Just
Lady.
Lady. Lady.
That is not a name.
I'm aware that's not a name, but it made the
I
list.
hate to be against this list, but I'm disappointed.
You know, Scott, guess what? Your name's not on the list.
Yeah, well, that's just woo. I mean,
'Cause your name's not
That's just
cool.
an example of why this list is not a good list. Clearly.
Number 6 is Miles.
Or its European equivalent, kilometers.
Woo!
Would you take miles or kilometer? Would you name your kid kilometers over miles? Like if you had to choose?
I would name my kid Femtometer.
That's European. There we go. I'll take it as a win.
Number 5, Holden.
That's a car company,
Holden.
isn't it?
Holden what? That's all I
This-
got. That's all.
I feel like the top 10 worst names and top 10 best names could be like
Is
interchangeable.
Moon
a lot of
Unit
the
on
names.
there?
Unfortunately not.
There you go.
Number 4 is Emily. That's actually an okay name. That's not.
It's a very average name, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's got no pizzazz to it. All right. You think that's got no pizzazz to it? Number 3 is Jen. It sounded like I responded to myself. Jen with 2 N's.
What?
I know a Jen with 1 N. And she's good, so Jen with 2 N's, I don't really know how to react.
That's double the good.
There's takes out all the personality.
Or not.
Number 2 is pretty good, I think. Bruno.
Mars?
What did you say?
Oh, he meant Bruno Mars, as in the popular singer, singer-songwriter.
It is instantaneously less good. No.
The guy who was
I've never-
thinking about marrying me in his last song, or one of his songs.
No.
What are you talking about,
You're not
Julius?
talking about me in that song?
What song?
I've never. I
It's
don't.
called Marry You.
And you just assumed it was about you?
Well, I was hoping so because it said you in it, and I was like, oh my
Okay,
god,
Julius,
he's talking to me.
one of two things is happening. Either you have some form of psychosis, or you have extreme narcissism. Which one would you like it to
Probably
be?
both, honestly.
Whichever one makes me marry Bruno Mars.
I'd do it for the money, honestly. To be
Okay, so a couple comments on this Bruno character is it. I'm also I'm noticing this for a lot of them is this one says it is a common name for dogs. You guys, is that? I've never heard Bruno as a dog name, much like not even as a person name, much less a dog name.
I can imagine it as a dog name.
I've heard it as both.
I've heard it as a human name.
Is this referring to humans or like animals, right? Just in general, names.
This is just names, I guess. Actually,
Oh yeah.
his name is Bold.
I
I think it's a class name from Bruno the actor.
I named my
What
ferret
does that
Bruno.
mean?
Just kidding. I don't know
Okay.
ferret.
You guys ready for number one?
Yes.
Little bit of tension going on. I can feel your anticipation. Okay, here, I'll read you the comments first. When I hear this name, I picture an epic cyborg with platinum blonde hair. I don't know. Another
Albert.
comment is another comment is this name is unusual and sounds futuristic a bit. It's really cool, awesome. I'm naming my kid that.
Please tell us what it is. I can't
I
wait.
hope it's Bartholomew. No, number one is Neo. Like from the Matrix, the main character in there.
Oh, that's why it's
Kind of.
futuristic. Yeah, I see you. I see
Yeah. It's also an anagram for the word one. If you rearrange the letters,
you. Or Eon
you mean or Elon Musk.
without the L.
It's not an anagram for that. Well, guys, I can feel the enthusiasm bursting at the seams. So, I really loved that top 10. That was good. Honestly, I was expecting a lot more from a top 10 names list. Like, where was Moon Unit? Where did that go?
Yeah, why was that on the worst names and not the best?
I mean, if you guys really want to know, though, I checked back in the list, and I was like, well, what other names are on here? I clicked to page 5, and instantly the first one I saw was like 203 was Hitler. So that's number 203 is coolest name.
Okay.
And it's not a great list. I'm starting to doubt where I'm
I
getting
mean, take
this
out the
from.
historical context. It's not that bad, really.
Well, speaking of historical context, Scott, what's going on this week in history? Tell us about that.
So, this week in history, a wonderful segment that I'm so excited for. We're just going to jump right into it. On Sunday, April 22nd, we're going to stay on the Hitler theme. In 1945, he admitted defeat and announced that he would commit suicide in a bunker.
Wait, he announced it?
According to this website, yes. Or he at least admitted defeat.
Hitler never announced defeat. Hitler refused to.
Julius, it's on the website. I'm pretty sure it happened.
Julius, it is on the website. It happened. He killed himself. Oh, actually,
Oh wait, no, he's in Argentina. Right?
he went to Argentina. He's still
So
kicking.
he faked killing himself.
So yeah,
he announced that.
he announced it just to get the public all like, oh no, obviously he's going to do it actually since he announced it, but actually he was just on a plane to Argentina.
He doesn't want to.
He got notched
Pushed
to
out.
do it. And he didn't want to get.
He
his
probably
eye.
tweeted it out from his airplane to Argentina. Anyway, we're going to move on to April 24th, a lighter subject. Just kidding, it's not a lighter subject, it's actually quite horrible. In 1915, the Ottoman Empire began its systematic extermination of the Armenians,
Ooh.
which they actually, I think Turkey still denies that it actually happened.
Are you really?
Yeah, so that's very unfortunate.
Now there's this guy with the guy who came to our school and talked about the Armenian genocide. He kept happened several times in his speech, and I also heard him in a class right before he came and gave a speech to my social studies class. He kept saying, "My grandmother, my Metz mama," verbatim that phrase exactly. If he ever talked about his grandmother, who was orphaned by the Armenian genocide, he always said, "My grandmother, my Metz mama," and he never elaborated on that. And I still, what is that?
I assume it's a word, an Armenian word for
Bother
her
to Google
grandmother.
that?
I don't even know how to spell that.
Yeah, I want to give it a go, okay?
All right, thank you.
So
Off-topic question. I had to know.
I had something to say about it, but I forget. So, it's actually quite interesting that Turkey still denies that this happens, because I think during my research, which was probably took about 5 minutes for this, I think on Friday, Germany actually banned, Julius, correct me if I'm wrong, banned Holocaust denying and stuff. I know,
Wait, banned it from where? What?
like from everything. I know Cambodia, it's banned to deny that the Cambodian genocide happened. In Turkey, it is state-sponsored to deny it. So it's a bit of a switcheroo. Anyway, we're gonna move into a different phase of this week, called the Bangladesh is not doing too great phase. In 2013, on the same day, April 24th, about 1,100 people died in the worst building collapse in modern history. You guys actually, this is probably one of the few this week in history where you guys might remember. I think it was like a Joe Fresh building. And
I don't think I knew
and
that.
it took a tumble, and so
Took a
I don't think it
tumble.
took a tumble, but like...
yeah, well, it fell, and it really highlighted the horrible work conditions in Bangladesh. So it really, people are like, oh, maybe we should stop, having cheaply made shirts in Bangladesh, and then I don't think anyone actually ever did anything about
They
it.
just moved to Cambodia.
Yeah, they just moved it to like Mexico, move it closer to home.
We need to stop, treating these people in Bangladesh so poorly. So let's go to another country and treat those people poorly. I mean,
I'm like,
So we're gonna move on. April 26th in 1989, the deadliest tornado in history killed about 1,300 people. Where do you guys think it was?
oh, Kansas.
Bangladesh. I'm sorry.
I thought it was the Wizard of Oz.
We will never get a listener from Bangladesh. It's a fact, but I'm so sorry, Bangladesh. This has been an awful, awful week for Bangladesh.
Yeah, they don't have it so good, seemingly, historically.
Yeah, maybe we should take a podcast trip there, and then maybe
That'll be funded by the school.
get
for
some
sure.
funding. We can do Edge podcast or Bangladesh.
And we podcast with them. We interview them.
You almost got the country wrong.
Okay, so our last thing, April 27th in 1961, a country that isn't having such a bad week, Sierra Leone became an independent republic. Congratulations to Sierra Leone.
you made it!
Over 150 years of British colonial rule. They finally got independent. Now they exist. And yeah,
That doesn't work, Brandon.
so that's it.
What are you talking about?
We're
Wait. Before we continue, just to bring it back to the Metz Mama thing. Okay, Metz Mama means grandmother.
That's what I predicted.
That's what I predicted too. I don't know why you didn't know that.
Okay, Julius, relax. You just Googled it, so you didn't know it either.
Well, it has mama in it, which is German for mom.
Ooh.
If I spoke German, that would be great for me to decipher that. My point was that he never gave any elaboration to it, and he just compulsively said it after my grandmother every time.
Common sense.
Please continue.
Wonderful. Okay, we're gonna move right on to Donald's kooky conspiracy. That better be kooky, Donald.
Better be real kooky.
What's up, guys? Today we're going to be looking at some conspiracies. Now, this week, it's a classic. We've been dancing around it trying to find some kooky ones like the world order under the Denver airport and the World Health Organization killing people. But today, it's a classic. It's flat Earth conspiracy. And I've got so much evidence for this one.
find that hard to believe.
Okay, you know the United
don't do any
Nations. Do you guys
research on it.
trust the United Nations?
I suppose.
Then why does their symbol resemble the map of a flat Earth?
Because you can't make this symbol in 3 dimensions.
They could just do the top of it.
You could make it a GIF in 3 directions. A GIF logo.
Yeet.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, their symbol's gonna be a GIF.
Just a-
And then the general secretary could send it to their UN group chat.
No, this is directly from their
Not
website.
get kicked out.
The simplest pieces of evidence relies on one's own senses to discern the true nature of the world around us. The world looks flat, the bottom of clouds are flat, the movement of the sun suggests it's flat. This is what's calling an empirical approach, or approach that relies on information from your own senses. So you have to be above scientific evidence and just realize for yourself.
You just have to be
I
a
have-
higher intelligence.
Yeah.
I have one question I should suppose.
I find that
what
hard
about
to
those
believe.
parts of the Earth where you can see the curvature of the Earth because it's so flat everywhere?
That doesn't make sense. If it's really flat, then it looks flat.
So what? Okay, so then what's the curve?
Flat.
Okay, what is
So much-
the horizon? Is that just the limit of our eyes?
So much.
That's just where the
evidence.
Earth ends.
Wait,
Has anyone ever gone over the edge of the Earth? Like any recorded incident of this happening, Donnie?
Yes.
You got any proof?
are you sure about that?
We're getting off.
That's where I could put a GIF in.
We're getting off topic.
Oh my god. We're talking because we're not saying it's flat. Okay, what else? What else? Is,
Well, of course, I'm sure you've heard of the Bedford level experiment, where they took a 6-mile stretch of river and saw that and proved that it wasn't curved.
What if they did it with a
What?
100-mile stretch of water?
Well, they didn't.
I think 6 miles may be just like too short.
Brian and I are going to use this table right here to determine that the Earth is
Looks pretty flat to me.
I'm not taking part in that.
That is a flat table.
That looks pretty flat.
That is a well flat
Also, the
table.
bottom of your shoes are flat. So how do you walk on something that's curved comfortably?
I actually, the bottom of my shoes is curved up,
Yeah,
like the
mine too.
opposite direction.
Yours are curved up too, Donnie.
That's for speed and agility.
Donnie, I think you're losing.
I'm not losing, okay? They have an answer for this on their website. They're like, people have been to space. How have they not discovered the Earth is flat? Which is what you guys are saying.
Because it isn't.
The most commonly accepted explanation of this is that space agencies of the world are involved in a conspiracy faking space travel and exploration. They likely began during the Cold War's space race, in which the USSR and the USA were obsessed with beating each other into space to the point where they each faked their accomplishments in an attempt to keep pace with the other's supposed achievements. So it's just fake.
But what do they stand to gain by lying that the Earth is not flat?
The conspiracy is most likely motivated by greed rather than political gains. For using only some of their funding to continue space travel saves a lot of money to embezzle for themselves. So they're using the money that would be used to explore supposedly round Earth and just buying like Rolexes.
Oh, okay, now I get
Yeah.
it. This makes sense.
It does.
I feel really bad for the
Just
for the
kidding.
people who go through like engineering school learning that the Earth is round, and they just spent all this money on university just to be lied to.
It is really tragic. And also, they're not saying space agencies are stupid. They're saying that they just don't know any better.
So they're
Like,
saying
they
they're
don't know any
stupid,
better. Unintentionally, though.
unintentionally stupid,
Yes.
kind of like
Space
Julius.
agencies, Donovan Savage from the BDSM podcast has called you guys out.
NASA's pretty stupid.
So, what about the lights in the skies? The stars, are they flat? Are they flat too?
Couldn't tell you. Are those Earth? Because it's the flat Earth society. Why are we talking about stars?
I'm just wondering if the stars and other planets are round because of gravity. Why wouldn't Earth be round?
Brennan, what if the entire sky is just a TV screen? Or, you're just
That's a big TV.
you're-
This isn't the Truman Show. Have you seen that?
I've
movie?
seen that movie. I love that movie. Oh, here we go. Scott. Scott
wow.
sees this nice GIF.
Yeah, that's a nice
Speaking
GIF.
of GIFs,
It shows the
it shows how the sun and moon works on a flat Earth, which is actually how it works. So makes sense.
I don't think that's right.
I'd love to see
It's like a
it.
spotlight.
This leaves so many things.
Imagine if you just had a flashlight on a plate and you just moved it circularly.
It's basically just the Earth and the Moon doing a circle around the flat Earth.
Okay. Anyways,
So they would never set?
shut up. Anyways, this getting pretty whack, which puts me in the mood for a whack story.
North America is in the light like 95% of the time.
Whack story.
Yes, whack
I
story.
like that you're getting it right. This is nice. This is spicy. This is getting good.
Did you see that transition?
So a guy in Romania is registered as dead, but he's not dead. And he wants to essentially what that means for him is he can't get income or a job or anything that a living person gets from the government
There it is.
or any business. And he tried to register. He tried to fight it in the court and have them overturn it and say he was alive. And they said no because he filed too late. They said it's too late to do that.
To prove that you're alive.
Well, yeah, I can see where
Yeah.
they're coming from. If he's dead, it's kind of too late to prove that he's alive.
Well, he's alive.
Clearly not.
Apparently, his wife is the one who registered him as dead while he was out of the country.
That's pretty savage.
Yes.
You know, this reminds me of Japan, where they like the reason why they're
Just leave it there.
This reminds me of Japan.
Japan. That's the end of the story. I forgot what I was gonna say. No, that the only reason they have such a high such a high life expectancy is because they apparently don't say that their grandparents are dead, just so they can keep receiving the benefits from the government. And so that's the only reason why they have.
You know,
like,
this is
thousands
actually
of 105-year-olds.
this is actually going to save a lot of hassle when he actually dies.
Because they've already done the paperwork. Oh, wait, no, they're saying they haven't died. Oh.
They're like
They have.
Wait, so if you
There's
don't
rare
register,
things
if you
out
don't register someone as dead, do this government just consider them alive for the rest of time?
What I'm doing is passport.
You have to have a death certificate. Otherwise, like, there's no way for the government to know
What if
you're
you
dead
don't
until someone
graduate
tells
life?
you.
Does he have a death certificate?
Yeah, it's all filed up. He was in Turkey working as a cook,
Might as
and he
well
got
be dead.
deported back to Romania because they said his papers were expired and they didn't fit what he was saying. And then when he gets to Romania, they say you've been dead for like a few days now. And he says, "Oh,
The
really?
paperwork didn't line up. Yeah, it says here you're dead.
What's with that?"
What's up with that? I want to talk.
So that's his story. That's his whack little story of a little Romanian man. He's a cook. He was a cook in Turkey for like 20 years.
Until he died.
Until he passed away, exactly.
Until he passed away in Romania.
Until he passed away back to Romania.
Kind of reminds
I
me
think
of
that's-
Jesus.
Oh, yeah. My boy.
Yeah, what if Jesus just didn't get his death certificate? Or like he did, and he's like, but wait, I'm actually not there.
I'm sure that's how it went down. You guys, I think this is a good. What? This is a good time to end the podcast. What do you think?
I think this is a wonderful time to end the podcast.
As soon as possible, as they
I think
say.
I think there's a lot of times that are a good time to end the podcast.
All right, well, I'm done. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, hang on. Join us next time because we're going to be starting a new segment where we take turns each episode coming up with a question to ponder. Not a belligerent brain buster, but rather a conversational piece.
And check out Cal Murdy's podcast.
Cal Murdy's podcast is called the Scitalk. I think he's going to develop a new name because that's an awful name, but it's not awful. It's a fantastic podcast. It is one of the most legendary pieces of artwork that has ever been created.
Okay, done. Good night.